Hi, I'm Mark Tilley from Dirtbike magazine, and we're here at the famous Gatorback Cycle Park testing the brand new, not all new, brand new Triumph 250 motocross model bike. When we say all new, this is the first time that anybody outside of people getting paychecks from Triumph are getting to ride this motorcycle. A lot of people, a lot of speculations for the last few years have been, oh, they're just copying KTM, or they're copying Yamaha, or they're copying somebody else. Well, we found out last night from the people that are doing this that, yeah, they looked at some of the stuff that those other manufacturers were doing, they found the best stuff, and then they started building from there to make it better. Frame looks like a bike that you might have had back in the late 2000s, and an engine might look like a brand new 250F that's out there that's winning supercrosses, but it's not the same. They're doing stuff in-house in their factories. They're machining all of the engine cases. The plastic is made in their factories from the ground up. A lot of parts on this motorcycle are made in a Triumph specific factory by Triumph employees, and that's kind of cool. Everybody's seen all the specs on this bike because they've been trickling out, and it's one of those things to where we're not going to talk anymore about this motorcycle. We want to ride this motorcycle. If you want all the in-depth specs, head over to dirtbikemagazine.com, look at our first look at the Triumph, see what all the technical specs are, but we've talked enough. We're going to ride this thing. So we just got done with our first day of testing here at Gatorback on the brand new Triumph TF250X. We've been saying it a lot lately, but we gotta say it again. We're impressed. Straight out of the gate, Triumph has a bike for a contender in the 250 class. It's fast. It even has some over rev to it. Just when you think it's gonna stop revving, it kind of revs some more and gives you a little bit up top. But it's got really good bottom, really good mid. We might even change the gearing. We don't change gearing on bikes very often, but With this one, we're finding ourselves in between gears, especially a lot in between second and third and fourth. With a 48 tooth rear sprocket in the rear, we might want to go up one, maybe 49 or even a 50. And then that way we could kind of know, when we're going to shift and when we can just rev it out. The track here at Gatorback, it was really, really soft and loamy in the morning. And then after we got kind of off camera on some of the action shots, it got really hard and slippery, kind of like what we're used to in California, but a different kind of hard and slippery and rut. And it rutted up really good. But overall, the bike is a contender. I mean, if the 250 shootout wasn't already hard enough to pick a winner, this bike just came in and it's gonna make it even harder. All of the components, it's got KYB suspension. For me, suspension handling overall, I'm not the target weight for a 250F. At 185 pounds, 190 pounds, I'm a little on the heavy side for a 250F. And so it was soft, but plush. It never went all the way through the stroke, and it was still a comfortable bike. Like I said, power-wise, it's got a great note to it. You're revving the bike a lot. It's kind of nice to see a manufacturer make a stock can on the exhaust rebuildable. It doesn't really happen very often. You can take it apart and rebuild it and kind of go from there if you think your packing's gone. So a lot of innovations. The buttons, it's that big thing again about having just big buttons on the bars. The traction control, the launch control, they have the app for everything to kind of mess around with mapping, and all that's kind of standard. They're coming in with that straight off the bat. Their quick shift system, I'm not a huge fan of a quick shift system in general. Everything is on par to all the other manufacturers that they're coming in to compete against. I really noticed on this particular model, the front Brembo brake is really strong and not in a way to where it's just aggressive. And I noticed that the front end kind of when you get on that is diving a little bit. And for me, I'm not the target weight of a 250F rider, so the front end is going to kind of go down a little bit, and especially under hard braking. So we did go a little stiffer all the way around in on some of the clickers. I personally slowed the back down. I slowed the shock down a little bit, not because of not working right. Just for me personally, it was just a little bit too fast. So I slowed the shock down a little bit, like we said, turned in the clickers. But overall, really good motorcycle. Straight out of the gate, it's great that we're in the position that we're in to where we're getting to test a lot of brand new motorcycles. It's pretty impressive that all of the parts and all of the stuff that Triumph is making themselves. Frame is them making the frame. Somebody's not making the frame and then shipping it to them. Same thing with the engine cases, machining the engine cases. The aluminum comes into their factory, they machine it to their specs, make sure everything's right. And then even, down to the plastics. They're doing it all in-house underneath the Triumph brand. And it's kind of nice to see a company that's been in business for so long and was a huge part of the beginning of the quote-unquote motocross era. Guys coming back from the war and taking their street bikes and turning them into what we would consider motocross bikes now. So, Triumph being in business for a really long time, and then you can tell that they're all in on this. They're definitely a company that they're not dabbling in this. They're going all in, and they keep saying that this is just the beginning. We might see a 450 here pretty soon, or, maybe even some kids bikes or, stuff like that. So they do have some capabilities. They have just bought OSET, which is a electric bike manufacturer for kids and play bikes. So there's no way of telling what these guys are gonna do. If this bike is any inkling on what's coming, everybody needs to be really excited, because straight out of the gate, this bike is a contender. It's going to be interesting to see once we get it back, once we get our long-term test bike, as great as it is to come to the East Coast to ride and all that, it's not what we're familiar with. It's not what our test riders know. And, if a bike is kind of stepping out a little bit, okay, hey, that's normal for this track. We get to come here, we get to ride a track that we haven't ridden. I've never been here. Cool for me to experience. And then for me, with this motorcycle, I got comfortable right away. And I can't even say that it's like a KTM or it's like a Husky or it's like a Honda or a Cowie. It's its own thing. It doesn't feel like a really big motorcycle. It does have a comfortable rider cockpit area, a slimmer motorcycle. It feels light. You can flick it around. So not a track to where I'm gonna say, oh, this is the greatest bike on the planet, but hey, you know what? They did a great job right off the bat, and we can't wait to do a lot more testing with this motorcycle. Get it back to California, ride it in tracks that we are familiar with, and kind of start messing around with clickers and see if there's stuff that we come up with that we don't like, and you know, make some changes. So one thing before you buy this motorcycle, they should be in dealerships here soon, but one thing that really surprised us is that if you don't own a Torx wrench, you won't be able to work on this motorcycle because 95% of the bolts are going to be Torx style wrenches. And we kind of looked at it and was like, oh, well, just give me a 10 because it's the same, or give me an 8 because it's the same. No. They're all rounded off and they're Torx style. Make sure when you go to the dealership and you get this motorcycle, you're going to need to buy a tool set that has Torx style sockets. There was a lot of, like we said in the intro, there was a lot of people saying, oh, that's a KTM copy engine and it's a Yamaha copy frame and all that stuff. And these guys were straightforward when we asked them about that stuff. They said, hey, we looked at the industry as a whole and we saw these guys are doing it right and this is a really good platform. Why not start with the best and try to make it better? That's what they did. So this isn't a copy of anything. Now, I haven't taken the cases apart and done all that stuff, but they're not copying. They're starting with a platform that they know works, and then they're improving on it. And like I said, with this motorcycle, it doesn't feel like anything else. It's its own motorcycle. That's kind of refreshing. You look at that and yeah, they did. They took what was working and what they thought was a good platform and just built on that platform. So overall, a great time, a good motorcycle, a good foundation, and we'll see where we go from here. If you got a little bit more time on your hands and you want to check out some other 250F videos, hit the video thumbnail now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our latest releases. And don't forget to go to dirtbikemagazine.com for all your latest off-road and moto industry news.